Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm excited to be here with you today. And I'm Mario Martinez Jr., one of your hosts for the Modern Sales Mastery Show. And today we've got a really great topic we're going to spend some time chatting about. So let's get started on this particular topic here. And what we're going to be focusing in on while this comes up is sales messaging. Sales messaging. That's right. We're going to spend some time really focused in on the right types of messaging that you can use to convert prospects into conversations. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And before we begin, what I want to make certain is that you guys are actually following us on LinkedIn. So make sure that you follow on LinkedIn.com. If you actually type in follow on LinkedIn.com, you will be able to get to our Vingresso page. And on that page, you can actually make sure you're following all the latest and greatest content related to digital selling, prospecting, using video, using social, all those elements to be able to engage with your target audience. Also, follow on YouTube.com. That's what you want to make sure you do, is follow on YouTube. Hey, if you're a tweeter, no problem. Get on out there and join on Twitter.com. Just join on Twitter. You can follow us there and make sure you're getting access to all the latest and greatest. We publish 3 to 5 blogs per week or podcasts. You'll love them. They're engaging. It's focused on the sales leader, the sales rep, the individual revenue producer as well. You'll find a lot of great content. All right, let's go through our agenda today. We're going to cover a number of things here today. First off, how to increase sales productivity. We'll be spending some time on that one and going through that specifically and making sure that you've got the right productivity to get you started and sell more, create more conversations. We'll be talking all about the PBC sales method and sample message. I'll actually showcase to you very specifically different types of messages for both email and video. And then we're going to cover some sales messaging best practices. And I've also got some sample video messages that we'll be taking a look at as well. So that'll be very important for you to understand and for you to see as well. So how do you increase your sales productivity? Well, we have launched at Vingresso a tool called Fly Message. Fly Message. In fact, in the link right now, she'll be throwing in the actual vingresso.com/fly message. So you'll have access to that. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you how Fly Message works. You could also visit flymessage.io, flymessage.io. And with that, it'll take you to install the Chrome extension. So let me show you actually what happens when you utilize flymessage.io. And I'm going to take you from my screen here and take you into an actual screen share. So bear with me while I open this up for you. And let me show you. So right now I'm inside of an email. And here inside of this particular email, let's say I want to send a cold message template that I've stored and I'm using over and over again, or I want to book a meeting. There you go. Let's use that one. I want to book a meeting. So watch my screen right now. I'm going to type in the words book meeting, and boom, up pops up a set of text. I'm also going to type in, for example, if I wanted to send a cold prospecting message and I'm going to send a new message to a particular customer, I'm going to type in -cold template, and up pops up a whole entire cold template. Pretty cool, right? Or let's just say I'm an entrepreneur, solopreneur, and I'm a CEO, whatever it might be, and I need to send somebody my bio, and I want all my links and pictures and all that good stuff. So watch this, -bio, and up pops up my all pre-coded text inside there with links and all that good stuff. Huge time saver for a salesperson to be able to leverage this type of messaging. Now, let me take you into Fly Message here specifically. And so now you should be seeing my Fly Message screen where I've got everything built out. So inside of Fly Message, we actually have what's called Fly Plates. And these are pre-canned sales messages that we've created as part of our Selling with LinkedIn Sales training program. And we've pre-created these categories: general, connection requests, as an example. So if I come here, I've got different types of messages that I can use for if your key customer's context manager, if you saw the person speak when a buyer has viewed your profile. So let's take a look at that. So when a buyer has viewed your profile, we actually have these predefined messages that are inside of Fly Message that allow you to be able to use this on LinkedIn as an example. So you have the ability, mine says update in my Fly Cuts because I've already added this directly to my Fly Cuts, which is basically my personal shortcuts. But your button would say add to my Fly Cuts. So what I want you to do is inside of here, we have a category called cold outreach. And under cold outreach, inside of here, you've got a cold template. Now this template here, we're going to review today, and you're going to want to use this. So don't worry as we take you through the demonstration of this messaging. It's all inside of the free tool called Fly Message. To get started, you definitely want to make sure you add a category. So what I like to teach my students to do is here under Fly Plates, I've got general, connection requests, trigger events, and cold outreach. I would absolutely create a new category right inside of here, and I would mirror these Fly Plates. So I would type in, as an example, general, and save that. Then I'd add another one, and I would add in connection requests so that my Fly Cuts, actually, if I click on Fly Cuts now, they have the same exact categories plus more. So these are all my categories that I've got and I've built out. Once you do that, now you can take any one of these messages. As an example, I'll come here to general and I'll click here, and you can click this add to Fly Cuts button, right? Now, why am I showing you all this? Because we're going to be focused on what's called the cold outreach message. So when you come here to cold outreach, I'm going to train you today on this particular message, and I'm showing you first where this message is stored at. So you won't have a downloadable as part of this particular presentation, but you will get the actual cold template inside of Fly Message, which is 100% free. So that's why I'm showing you the application. Make sure that when you sign up for Fly Message that you are logged in here at the Chrome extension. Once you download that Chrome extension, you're going to want to click that little blue pin button. Right now, it generally will show gray. In order for it to show here, you want to show it blue, and then it shows up right here at the top, the FM right here at the top for Fly Message. So make sure you've got the Chrome extension there and download that. Let me come back now to the presentation where I'm going to take you through some very specific messaging on how to go about using messaging to engage with your target audience and to attract them. So I just showed you where you're going to find the message, the cold template. Now I'm going to train you how to use this particular type of message. And we're going to start with what we call the PVC sales methodology. Now, the PVC sales methodology is really focused on the three elements. One, how to personalize your message. There's two ways to personalize a message. You can personalize to the individual, or you can personalize to the persona. And that's very important that you understand how to go about doing that. Personalizing to the individual means you're going to reference commonalities. You might have mutual connections, maybe an article that they published, something about the culture of the company that you observed or that you saw. It could be something related to the new job, promotion, those types of things. You also have the ability to personalize to an individual by getting to know them and the individual pain that they may be going through. That's what we call personalized to the persona. So personalizing to the persona really understands what is the pain that my buyer has that I solve. For example, with Vingresso, we talk a lot about the P for personalization, and at the default, if you don't have anything to reference that is individual to that particular person, then we go back always to the individual persona. And that is for sales leaders who we help, we're focused on helping you to create more sales conversations and to increase sales pipeline. So when we personalize something to the persona, we're talking about those particular problems, those particular issues. So that is very important you understand how to personalize to the individual. That is part of the P for the PVC. The next thing you want to be thinking about is how to bring value. Value is super important in terms of today's messaging, because with the message that you send, you've always got to bring value that entices your audience to want to learn, engage, and or communicate back with you. If all you're looking for is what's in it for you, i.e. a meeting, your buyer is not going to engage. So You want to use content to address their specific pain. Use content. So it might be a blog, it might be an ebook, it might be a white paper, it might be whatever it could be. You want to use that content to help assist in solving that particular pain. For example, again, focused on Vingresso, and we help sales leaders create more sales conversations and increase the sales pipeline. So what we would do specifically is if I was extending outreach, I might send a sales leader one of two big giant blog articles, the definitive guide to prospecting or the sales messaging guide, which is what we're talking about today, as part of a blog article. And I would let them know that there are two problems that we solve. One is how to increase sales pipeline and how to increase the number of sales conversations. Are you having a problem with one of these two things? If so, here's a guide that I believe will be super helpful that you can send out to your sales folks that will instantly get them results if they apply the messaging. And number three, it is have a call to action. Most of us want to go in for that asking for a meeting. But that CTA is not always asking for a meeting. We might be inviting someone to an event. We might be asking for their opinion. We might ask them a question to solicit a response. Those are key CTAs that allow us to be able to take a conversation and bring it from an online and convert that eventually into an offline discussion. So that is the P, the V, and the C. We call that the PVC sales method, that every message that you create, whether it's email, phone, video, text, that you always have those three components. Now, let's spend a little time talking about what that perfect email or video prospecting message should look like. This is actually a slide taken directly from our sales training. You may not have known this, but 40 seconds is actually the amount of time that studies show that an individual, you and I, will engage with a digital asset or a digital item. So an email, a video message, etc. So a couple things to keep note of. When you're looking at what's the best thing I could possibly create, first off, it's a hyper-personalized message to that particular individual. Name personalize that especially, and then also bring in something that's relevant from a personalization perspective. You want to also include 111 words or less just to state the pain and add value and to include a call to action. So this is really hard to do, especially as a seller, because we think we've got so much to say. But remember, you've only got one scroll or 40 seconds to capture someone's attention on an email. Believe it or not, it's actually the same thing on video, because all you're doing is reading what it is that you would be writing. And in this case, you're bringing life to it with the video message. So when you create that video message, you want to keep that video message between 30 and 60 seconds maximum. And keep in mind that you're actually going to have about 20% plus drop off after the first 30 seconds and 40% drop off after the first 60 seconds. So what would be an acceptable type of length for a message, an email or a video prospecting message? Personalized to the buyer persona at the minimum. So you hyper personalize something, or if not, then at least you personalize to their individual pain. You also can use up to 150 words. That's generally going to get you about 70 seconds worth of material at most. But if you talk a little bit fast like I do, you're actually going to get under that 1 minute mark. So 112 to 150 is the max that you want to be focused on at. And then, of course, you do want to include a CTA. So the best is keep it at 111 words. Say what you got to say. Bring in the P for personalization. Bring in the V for value, and bring in the right call to action, a question, ask for a meeting. But if you can't do that, then this is the next best acceptable thing. So the range is right in between is what I try to keep sellers at. And many of our individual messages that we send out to our buyers are right at that best scenario. That's from a Vingresso standpoint. Okay, so let's talk about some messaging best practices for sales messaging. First off, I think this is important to understand. This is actually material that came from information that was done by SalesLoft. And they analyzed hundreds of millions of email records. And what you'll find is that what their study showed after analyzing sales sequences and messaging, that one-word subject lines generally receive what we call the golden ticket. But up to 3 words actually had some good results as well. Bad things started to happen, of course, when you got to 6+ words in your subject line. So a lot of sellers are always asking us, like, what do I include inside of the subject line? How do I capture someone's attention? Well, as an example, when our sellers are prospecting at Vigresso, because we help with developing sales pipeline and booking more meetings, we might use book a meeting. But our best performing one is just a single word email that says pipeline. And we get really, really, really high open rates on that particular email. So, and by the way, we don't put it in caps, capital P, it's all lowercase pipeline. And that has had a pretty dramatic shift on the opening of our emails in our prospecting messages that we're sending out. So 1 to 3 words at most, 1 being the best, and definitely not more than 6 for your subject lines. So let's get into talking about what an acceptable message might be. Now, when I say acceptable, remember I showed you the slide earlier that showcased basically what was the best and what was acceptable. So pretending on the baseline that you do not have the ability to be able to personalize to the individual. There's nothing available on social. Here is what a next best acceptable message would look like. And very specifically, you can use this. We've actually kind of made this as a hybrid. So you can use this both for video as well as for email as well. So you might say, hi, hey, prospect's first name. Now, believe it or not, on email, hi or hey or hello, John Smith, Mary, Susie, whoever it might be, actually did not increase your open rates. But inside of a video message, if you're using this for a video message script, as an example, you want to think about how do you attract that buyer in the first 7 to 15 seconds. And let me give you an illustration between the difference between hi versus hey and hello. If I said, hello, Mary, that sounds very formal. If I said, hi, Mary, that now sounds like I'm a friend. But if I said, hey, Mary, now it sounds like I'm best friends, right? So what we recommend that for video messages that you actually use the word hey, because you really want to bring that buyer in and draw them in as if you are best friends already. So it might go something like this. Hey, Mary, Mario here. You know, the majority of sales leaders I speak to have 2 common problems they're trying to solve. Number 1, they want their sellers to book more meetings. And number 2, they want to build a bigger sales pipeline. Okay, so now I've personalized this to the buyer persona because I don't have anything that I can hyper personalize to, which definitely happens inside of selling, that there isn't more data there that allows me to hyper personalize. But now I'm getting very specific to the actual buyer persona. And I'm talking about 2 problems. Now, at this point, as a reader, I have one of 2 choices. Either I'm going to say, yes, I have that problem, or one of those problems, or both problems. Or I say, no, I don't, and I stopped reading. If I do have these problems, I want them to keep on reading because the next part says directly below are 2 resources. So here's the V for value, right? So the personalization is personalized to the persona that's above. Now I just brought in some V for value. Directly below are 2 resources which have helped your peers address these problems. And so if it was done on an email, of course, it's being sent as an attachment. If it's being done as a video, hopefully your video landing page has the assets contained. Platforms like Hippo Video and OneMob do a fabulous job of this for enterprise selling, both of which are partner of ours. Then I might say the first is a blog. So it could be a blog, a white paper, an ebook, whatever it might be. A blog that answers the question and then put in the question. Or you might rephrase it to say, if I was using the definitive guide to prospecting, it might say the first is a blog article that provides the definitive prospecting cadence you need for your sellers. I might use that as part of my messaging for the actual blog that I'm going to share. The second is and here's where I would generally say, a 2-minute and 36-second video, which addresses, and you can put in what the buyer's challenge is that it's going to address. Maybe it's a showcase of a particular piece of advice, a problem that they may be having as one of your buyers, or that you're showcasing a company, a testimonial. So I might say the second is a 2-minute and 37-second video that showcases how, in this case, Juniper Networks was able to, and in this case, you can insert how you were able to help that particular client if you have that video testimonial. If you don't have video testimonials, that's fine. Use any of the videos from your YouTube site. Or if you're an individual and you want to find these videos, just ask your marketing department. And if you are a soloist, no problem, create the video about your product or service. So we now have V for value. So we're bringing in value into this discussion. And as a sales leader, if I have one of the two problems and I have content associated with that, I want to learn and read and watch in order to be able to figure out how to address that problem. Then I might close with the CTA. Now, notice I said a CTA doesn't have to be a meeting. In this case, I am going for the meeting. May I suggest a 30-minute meeting where I can share additional insights on how other companies are solving these two problems? And this, again, can be used directly as a video message script or an email message script as well. In addition, you might close the message out. If it's text-based email, you might say, I'm available on, now notice this, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and 4 weeks out at 9, 1, and 4. Why am I doing that? Well, if you're reaching out to your key buyer, generally speaking, they'll be an executive leader. That's what we're trained to do, is to go start high. And for the most part, most of those leaders are going to have their schedule built out already 2 weeks in advance. So by saying 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and 4 weeks out, especially when it's documented through email as an email message, you're being cognizant and allowing the buyer to understand that you're aware that they have a very busy schedule. So therefore, you're not going to ask time for tomorrow. That would be silly. Or Thursday, if it's Tuesday. You're going to ask time for 2 weeks out because you at least know that they're booked out that far in advance. Now, if they want to move it up, hallelujah, let them move it up and bring it in closer, but at least you're acknowledging. And why the 9, 1, and 4 p.m.? Very simply put, some executives, such as myself, like to have all my partner or vendor meetings after 3 o'clock so that it gives me time to be able to do all my core business activities during the middle of the day and working with customers. So you want to find out, like, what do they prefer? They prefer in the morning, mid-afternoon, or late afternoon meetings. Alternatively, if you have an email calendar, Calendly, Time Trade, HubSpot, whatever it might be, you can say, alternatively, to avoid email scheduling volleyball, click the link and you identify the link. Or if it's a video message, you would say, click the link below or see the icon directly below your video and feel free to find a time that best matches your calendar. You can cut out that piece. Of course, if you don't have a Calendly, Time Trade, or a HubSpot link for booking meetings, or you can cut out the insert 2, 3, and 4 weeks out at 9, 1, and 4 if all you want to do is book through a meeting link. So that's one way you can do that. All right. So now you've got the P, the V, and the C. You've seen how I close that out from a call to action perspective. And hopefully that makes a lot of sense in terms of the cold prospecting. Now, this message I just showed you is a cold template. It is the cold template that I showed you in Fly Message. So don't worry if you didn't grab this. All you have to do is go install Fly Message, go to the Chrome store, install Fly Message, and then sign up on the app. It's free. All the cold templates are inside there that you would need. In addition to that, we have about another 50 more cold templates that we utilize for on LinkedIn inside of our Selling with LinkedIn training program. So if you're an individual listening to this and you want the actual training program, well, then all you have to do is go to moresalescalls.com, moresalescalls.com. You can go there and you can actually buy the annual license and you'll get access to all 70 plus of our scripts, of which you can then copy and paste and put right directly into Fly Message. But in Fly Message, we've got about 20 of those already preloaded. So that script is inside of Fly Message. That's why I showed you that first. I mentioned about the Hey Mary and Hey John. I want to point out to you that we do recommend, as I mentioned earlier, that you always use best friend voice. The word hey will make you smile more. So as an example, watch yourself in the mirror. Stand in front of the mirror and say, hello, Mary. Now say, hi, Mary. And then say, hey, Mary. And watch what happens to your face. What you want to do is you want to bring that person into your video if you're creating a video message. And hey, if you don't like the word hey, no problem. Your fallback is at the minimum hi. Don't use hello. It's too formal, especially for a video message. But we always recommend use the word hey Mary and show that passion and excitement that you're sending out a personalized message to that individual that you're working with. So what makes a good video message? So here is the script. I mentioned to you that the one before can be used. This is the exact same script. There is just a slight change, and that is in the V area where it says directly below is a blog, webinar that answers the question. And the second item addresses, so it allows you to be able to flow that message from a conversational standpoint. All we did was merge that together. So nothing holistically in terms of the formula. The P is still there, the V is still there, and the C is still there. But how you say it is slightly different to allow you get in under 60 seconds. And we've also outlined it here to showcase that, hey, if you've got a calendar link, just use the calendar link functionality. But if you don't have a calendar link, make sure that you put the dates and times and then reference the reply button directly below. So most video applications, whether it's Loom, Hippo, OneMob, Vidyard, BombBomb, Videolicious, all of them usually have a reply function or reply box. So whatever that is, make sure you utilize that. So those are only the minor differences that the two scripts. Other than that, they're roughly pretty much the same exact thing. So these are the actual messages that are getting results, and the length of them and the what you use to be able to introduce that particular video in terms of the message are super critical and are the ones that are actually getting results. So many of you have sent in requests to say, hey, can you show us, please, what are some good examples of videos and landing pages or the little Giphy images that you send inside of a video message? So I want to show you some of those things today. And what you're seeing right now on the screen is an actual Giphy image, which is pretty exciting that you'll be able to see this. And what you notice here is that there's a nice, big, giant smile coming from one of our reps, Sebastian. And Sebastian here is off-centered. Notice how the play button is not over his face until afterwards when he comes back into frame. That's the Giphy image. One of the big mistakes that sellers make, is creating an actual video where the play button is over their nose, eyes, and face. Don't make that mistake. You will lose your opportunity to capture your buyer if they do not see that warm smile right at the beginning to build that trust, instantly to build that trust. This is a visual. Now, let me tell you something. Yesterday, it was reported that in an analysis done with LinkedIn, that email volume from February of 2020 to February of 2021, so just 1 year, worldwide, has gone up by 40.2 billion more emails. 40.2 billion more emails. So more and more people are, of course, using email to be able to digitally engage with their constituents, internal and external, and sellers are doing this as well. Now, what if you saw this image inside of your email? When you open the email as a buyer and you see Sebastian's face just like this, which is a Giphy image that when you send an email, a video message, you can include this type of image. Do you think that that would help you stand out from the rest of the sellers who are not using video? Well, I sure hope so. And with that in mind, if you're a sales leader listening into this, this is exactly what we teach as part of our Selling with Video sales training program. So most sellers, when I has got that big, nasty, ugly play button right there on the face. You want to make sure that you don't have that. So that's super important. And the next item that I want to show you is something that's very unique. Now, this is actually a video message that was sent as a direct result of a buyer unfortunately missing 2 meetings. Now, in this case, the buyer actually was a manufacturer of product. Can you guess what product it was? You guessed it right, of car wash products and services. So what our rep did here, Sebastian, the moment that he learned that the buyer was going to cancel the meeting and he needed to reschedule it, He grabbed a video from a car wash and said, "Hey, John, I just got your email message. Oh no, I was in the middle of my car wash when you messaged me and I was on my way to see you." So, what this shows is really some geniusness, some creativeness on what you should do with video platforms in terms of creating those green screen backgrounds, using video to be able to leverage, and a couple platforms that I know for sure allow you to do this in using green screen backgrounds for both video as well as pictures are Hippo Video and OneMob. Those are the two that I know for sure that allow you to be able to build in those types of videos. So, or these types of items here. So very exciting to be able to see this type of video messaging. And I wanted to show you this because it's important that you look at these two items and see what the power of the Giphy image when you create that first image. And what you again notice is Sebastian's smile, his eyes. That's the first step in that trust building process. In addition, what you also notice is that he's got a social icons right there in the upper right-hand corner, LinkedIn and Twitter. And he's also got his phone number and email in case the person wants to reach out to him right away. Last but not least, you see the text right above the video where it says a quick car wash message. There inside of that, he's using the text to be able to bring in something very personal to this particular buyer. Items related to a car wash, you got that right. So this allowed him to be able to reschedule the meeting and to ultimately get right back in front of that particular buyer. So what I want to make sure you know about is that we do have an entire video sales training program that's really structured for the enterprise team. And what you'll be seeing in the very short term future is that our on-demand platform actually has how to personalize your videos with proper video messaging. And we're going to be launching that training on selling with video, is going to be called, or video prospecting. And you'll be able to have access to that both through our on-demand platform, if you were a subscriber to our Modern Sales Mastery or Selling with LinkedIn program. And for corporate teams, we've done this for many different organizations, including, guess who? One of the largest video collaboration companies, including Zoom. So teaching people how to be able to leverage personalized video is a really key element to be able to grow. Vingresso.com, and if you just put /selling-with-video and virtual bootcamp remote teams, you'll be able to see that there. So go ahead and grab hold of that link and use that, or just go to Vingresso.com and mouse over solutions and click on selling with video. That's an easy way to do that. So if you're interested and you want your teams to be able to improve, to be able to book more sales conversations, do this. It's one of the best programs that I love working on. In fact, I literally 1 hour before this presentation just got out of training a new set of sellers in the insurance vertical, as a matter of fact, on how to leverage video. Also, for sales managers, hey, sales managers that are out there, Vingresso.com /sales-managers. I want you to contribute to our guide. We're calling all sales managers and above, director, vice president, CSO, CROs. We are publishing a guide called the Ultimate Sales Manager's Guide to Leading in a Virtual World. And I want you to contribute your message there. How do you lead a virtual team? So you'll likely have a great opportunity to be able to be published on Vingresso, which is a very well-known website with lots of visitors there. So make sure that you get your ideas, tips, tricks published in our guide. So please contribute to our guide. And with that said, that brings us actually to a close of this particular message. And I see some great questions that are coming in from Q&A. I want to thank you for some of those questions and your feedback on the sales messaging. Look, guys, we spend a lot of time teaching sellers the right sales message and the right format using the P, the V, and the C. And I'm really glad that you found that of value. And yeah, Fly Message is a very cool tool. There's an entire training tutorial right inside of Fly Message at the on the what we call the Flyboard, your dashboard, that will take you through after literally about 25 minutes. You'll be ready, up and running, and you've got everything you need to know about how to be able to use Fly Message. So with that in mind, the questions that have come in, I've actually answered those questions throughout the presentation. I've had a chance to be able to pause and look at some of the questions that have come in. It's been great having you as part of the show, and I want to thank you for joining us on this show on all around sales messaging. And with that in mind, I don't have any more questions. Yes, if you want to know more information, please send an email to info@vingresso.com. And with that in mind, make sure you join us each week for the Modern Sales Mastery Show. Take care, guys.